to a wild one on Baseball Tonight. We'll investigate if signs are being stolen around the league. The big hurt can be a bad sign for American League pitchers, but the concern of others was a good sign for Brett Butler.
The response of the media and my friends and family members, I was overwhelmed and overtaken, and I was just so joyful and just content.
The pitching duel in New York was a good sign for baseball this afternoon. But is this more of a sign of the times in today's game? Baseball Tonight, next. Well, I hope you enjoyed the exciting hockey tonight. There will be a Game 7, and there will be a double dip of baseball tonight. Chris Berman, along with Harold Reynolds. Not a busy night in baseball, Harold, but yet an intriguing night. We have some things in the early and the late show that we think that you will be both amused by and very much come to grips with. There are some heavy-hitting interviews and also some heavy-hitting interviews by Harold in a totally different role. Well, today who's been heavy-hitting this year has been Charles Nagy and, of course, the Cleveland Indians. Nagy, the young man from Connecticut, is trying to up his mark to 9-1 as the Tribe, on a rare 3-game skid, played the Milwaukee Brewers. The Tribe just being swept by the Texas Rangers. And bad news for Cleveland, who were trying to get off the schneid, because as Nagy was going for win number 9 in the top of the first inning, Carlos 1 up by Land, 2 up by C, 3 up by Erga, hit by Ricky Bonas, hits him on the right hand. He'd stay in the game for a while, but left in the 5th inning. Top of the 2nd, the Indians get the bonus. Manny Ramirez with runners at 1st and 2nd. It's a blooper off Vina's glove. Jim Thome scores. The Tribe up 1-0. Next batter, Sandy Alomar Jr. And remember the other Alomar to the left field corner. Eddie Eat, Drink, and Be Murray scores 2-0 Tribe. Nagy pitched well against Mike Matheny. Gas. Nagy retired 11 in a row. Julio Franco, a long fly. Avert your eyes here. What? Chucky Carr. This looks, thank goodness, worse than it is. Hyperextends the right knee. No fracture. I'll have an MRI tomorrow. He went right to the hospital. That looked awful, but at least it's better than it looked. And right now the Indians are leading that game by the count of 2-0.
And he hung on to the ball.
Very impressive. He hung on to the ball. 2 on, 2 out in the bottom of the 8th, though, for the Brewers. Meanwhile, the Tigers and the White Sox. The Tigers trying to win 2 in a row. But Harold, 5-4-3 DP, it is the Tigers.
This is the Tigers. They've been struggling all year, and when you make plays like that, you're going to give the opponent a chance of driving a lot of runs.
Wilson Alvarez gets Mark Lewis looking in the 5th, retired 11 straight Tigers. The White Sox lead at 1-0 in the bottom of the 5th with 2 men on. And the big hurt, Frank Thomas doubles to left. Tony Phillips will be around to score. The White Sox lead at 2-0. Bottom of the 6th inning, Ozzie Guillen. This one, hey, they don't play Ozzie there. It's going to roll all the way to the wall. Miami Karkovice scores. Durham scores. 5-1 Sox, and then more Tiger baseball.
Oh, right here, the double play ball, and that speaks for itself.
I want to laugh. I mean, Buddy Bell was so excited last night. He said, I don't really know how to act when the Tigers won a game, which for them was only their 5th win in their last 37. Back to normalcy, and it looks like the White Sox are on their way to their 10th win in their last 12. On the top of the 8th, they lead that by the count of 8-1. Frank Thomas, by the way, 2 for 4 with a pair of RBI. And speaking of Frank Thomas, he now has enough plate appearances. The minimum is 3,000. He got to that a little earlier this year. And his all-time slugging percentage of .597 is 6th lifetime, behind some guys you might have heard of. Ruth, Williams, Carrig, Fox, and Hank Greenberg. Thomas is 6th. I mean, it's not news that the 2-time MVP in the American League is such a dangerous hitter, but people forget he's such a good average hitter as well as for power, Harold.
A big guy like that, you don't expect to see the numbers that he's throwing up. 3,000, that was an amazing graphic. 3,000 at-bats, and that means he's almost 2/3 the way there when you're getting 600% on base. I mean, that's unreal.
And you know what's amazing, if you think of what Thomas does, the 3 of the best, of course, Thomas, MVP 93, 94 last year. The guys who won 2 in the MVP race were Mo Vaughn, who won it, and Albert Bell, who was 2nd. And you look at this year, our point is that these are big guys. Thomas, of course, every year has been batting up in that range. You know, his lowest average was 308 last year. His lifetime average is 324. But Albert Bell last year hit 317. Now he's hitting down to 344. Mo Vaughn had 300 and 310 the last 2 years. Remember Bell 2 years ago at 357. When you look at this and you think about it, big guys, powerful guys who could win batting titles and maybe triple crowns if Robbie Alomar ever decides to get off 400.
The only big guy I can even remember in my time was Dave Parker. You know, Dave was a big guy to hit for that kind of average and that kind of power. That's amazing. And Dave Winfield won a batting title hitting, you know, a lot that high too.
But these guys now, especially Thomas every year, and now Bell for the third straight year, and Mo Vaughn again. I mean, these guys are 300 hitters, which is a very scary thought.
Got the big old pipes and they're big and tall. You don't expect
nice
it.
little new parks or old parks in the American League. Well, let's go on to the National League, where the Dodgers have had a nice road trip thus far, thank you. They've won 4 of 5 on the road. They only lost a couple nights ago to the Phillies. Tonight they were back at Philadelphia. And let's get the latest as Mike Piazza not playing tonight. Top of the first, no score. Todd Hollandsworth off Mike Williams, and it's gone. 1-0 Dodgers. Still in the first inning after Hollandsworth's home run. Eric Charismatic is at first. Delano to Coconut to Shields. Singles in center field. Carroll's digging hard. Ricky Otero will throw to Mickey Morandini. The play at the plate to Mike Lieberthal. Lieberthal did the nice deke, making it look like the throw wasn't coming in. Then he put the tag on out. Bottom of the fourth, first and second, one out. Glenn Murray. A one-time Expo big-time prospect. The Red Sox drops in front of Cedeno. Runners move up. Murray has a single. But watch Eric Karros. Takes the throw. Okay, now pay attention, Nino. Murray's a youngster. What happened? He tagged him out on a hidden ball trick. And then, bottom of the ninth, Pete Incaviglia drives in Morandini. Safe. So Jim Fregosi has this youngster hidden ball, but they say, okay, inky dinky do. Had the 2 homers the other night. Comes back with the game winner in the bottom of the ninth. And the Phillies, the scrappy Phillies, have won it by the count of 3-2 over the Dodgers as Lieberthal hit a home run, his 5th. Mark Whitten hit a home run, his 5th. The Phillies with a pair of the ninth to win that game off of Todd We Are the Worrell, who falls to 1-3. When we return, the Mariners, are they ahead of the all-time pace? Paul Wilson in a 1-0 game, and a sobering talk with Brett Butler, his first interview since surgery.
The Silver Bullet. It's shipped cold to tap the cool taste of the Rockies. Tap the Rockies, Coors Light.
To apply for a Discover card, all you have to do is give us a ring at 1-800-DISCOVER. There's no annual fee. And with our cashback bonus award, the sooner you call, the sooner we can return the favor. It pays to discover.
They say, surround yourself with Earth's forms and you'll find tranquility. In the presence of power, you'll achieve peace of mind. Remove yourself from chaos and you'll experience rejuvenation. Hence, our newest edition, Wide Open Spaces. Introducing the longer, roomier Jaguar Vanden Pla.
Many credit card rebates hold you down with restrictions and yearly limits, but not the Discover card. The more you use it, the higher your cashback bonus award. So when it comes to our rebates, the sky's the limit. It pays to Discover.
Baseball Tonight is brought to you by Aquafresh Whitening. Safe to use every day for dazzling whiter teeth. And by Best Buy, just the store you've been shopping for.
For all the merriment that we've had this season, we certainly have had some very sobering stories, and none higher on the list than Brett Butler. Butler, of course, would like so much to be with his Dodger teammates. We said that they were having a good road trip until tonight, but obviously Butler has other things on his mind. He thought he'd be spending May 21st playing for the Dodgers against the Mets. Instead, he spent it on the operating table, having 50 lymph nodes, one of them cancerous, removed. He thought he'd be spending tonight with the Dodgers in Philly. Instead, he spent it a day after having surgical staples removed from his neck. He thought he'd be spending June 10th at Dodger Stadium trying to beat the Cardinals. Instead, he will spend it beginning 6 weeks of 5-day-a-week radiation treatments. And as Bob Serkin found out in Butler's first interview since the surgery, despite all the unhappy surprises, Brett Butler is very grateful.
You had a premonition that you had cancer, didn't you?
Well, I'm a hypochondriac by nature. You know, my dad died in '84 of a heart attack at 49 years old, and my mother had lung cancer, and then she had a brain tumor, and then she died last year at 59 years old on August 9th. And so to me, I had a lump right there where I thought the node was, but I thought, man, it was infection. But kiddingly, I said to Bob, I said, Bob, you know, this could be cancer. And he laughed at me. He goes, oh, that isn't cancer. That's just, you know, tonsillitis. You got a kid's disease, and you'll be fine.
Go ahead and just describe the
second
surgery and the results.
Well, we really weren't sure if it was just the lymph node that had cancer in it or not. So the thought process was we were going to do a neck dissection initially. I didn't know how big the stitches were going to be or how big the scar was going to be, all of that. But they put in 38 staples. What he did is he went behind my ear here, all the way down the side of my neck, almost to halfway through my shoulder, and then took me from my Adam's apple and cut me back across to meet that parallel. And about where that it meets there, that conjunction, is about where the tumor itself was. I can tell you I felt like that my faith was strong as a man. And I can tell you in the first 4 or 5 days of the tonsillectomy and the pain that I was in, I failed miserably as a human being in my faith. My wife was the rock, and I failed miserably. Once I was able to...
Why do you say that?
Well, because to me, I've always been the optimist. She's been the realist, so to speak. She was being the optimist. I was the realist. Well, there was a chance I could die. But I wasn't more concerned of the cancer. I was more concerned about, I was afraid I wasn't going to die. That's how much pain it was. So going through the pain of the humanistic feeling of pain, and having that faith where I'd be able to get through anything with my faith. You know, to me, it was like, just let me die. That's how bad I felt. I can move it, but it's real stiff. It's just like getting a Charlie horse or something on the outside. It's still painful for me to swallow. When I swallow water, there are times where the soft palate in the top of my mouth is still so soft that a lot of times the fluid will come out of my nose or something. So we're still trying to work with that. At night, I'm on some painkillers about every 4 hours to try to help me sleep at night. But it's nothing like the pain that I had with the tonsillectomy, and it's something that I found out in my weakness. God is strong, and He's gotten me through all these times, and He promised He wouldn't give me something I couldn't handle, and we've come through with flying colors.
Brett, medically, there's certainly no conclusive evidence that the smokeless tobacco caused your problem. But how do you feel about it? What do you think contributed to it, and did the smokeless tobacco, in your opinion, play a role in this illness? Maybe it could have.
Like I said, I hadn't dipped in 15 years, and I'd done it for, I think, 2 or 3 years. And could it have played a role? I'm not going to say it didn't, but I'm not going to say it did either. I'm saying that there is that possibility that it could. To me, smokeless tobacco is something we shouldn't use. We need to be a positive role model and let these kids know and everybody else out there that smokeless tobacco can cause cancer, can cause trouble along with smoking. I don't care what the General Assembly says about smoking, that it's not harmful to your health. We all know that it is. For a company to come out and say that it doesn't, we know it does. And so I'm one to say that I believe that smokeless tobacco is bad for you. I believe smoking's bad for you. And to me, that we shouldn't do that. But to me, I'm not necessarily saying that that's what caused the cancer.
Well, if everything goes according to plan, you'll be done with the radiation about July 19th. Do you really think that you'll have it in you to actually play the rest of the season, or just be a presence in the clubhouse?
Well, I don't know. Like I said, they said all those years I was too little and I couldn't play, and that you'll never play Major League Baseball. Now they're saying there's a slim to no chance that I could get back to the big leagues and play again, and that I'd have my strength and enthusiasm. Well, I'm one to tell you that the mind's a powerful thing.
Brett Butler, of course, very gutty in giving that interview so recently after the surgery. On June 15th, Brett Butler will celebrate his 39th birthday. That's during the first week of what will be 6 weeks of radiation treatment. He's been in the majors since 1981, but here in 1996, of course, this is a different sort of major leagues that he's in. And just as Butler was so successful first with the Atlanta Braves and, of course, the Cleveland Indians and the Giants and the Dodgers and briefly the Mets, so you have the feeling, will he be successful in this major league battle, the battle to beat throat cancer? All of us wish Brett the best. He was very nice to give us some time, to give us a little insight. When we return, a baseball rarity, a 1-0 game. It took barely over 2 hours. It was great. We'll be back.
It's time to see how the North, South, East, and West was won. So giddy up, buckaroos. The Toyota Summer Drive Sales event is on. If you hightail it into your dealer, you can corral a T100 with a great deal. Or get your wheels dirty in a Toyota Tacoma with low 1.9% financing. But you gotta hurry, because there's great values on Toyota trucks and many happy trails to go. So drive.
Is it you, is it me?
Who's next?
Gentlemen, athletic lunacy will be served up daily, fresh, piping hot. Please come back for seconds.
The X Games, coming soon.
You know, being around Jack, he's a great guy to work for. Just how much you learn being with the guy, you can't get sick of it. You really can't. It's great. Do I think there'll be another Jack Nicklaus? No. I don't think there will.
Welcome back to baseball tonight. In this season, when we've seen scores like 26-7 and 13-11 and 10-8 being the normal, there have only been 9 1-0 games thus far in the major leagues. But you know what? The Mets won one on Sunday. Less than 2 weeks ago, they were involved in one against the San Francisco Giants when Alan Watson beat them 1-0. And sure enough, here's Alan Watson pitching for the Giants against the Mets in New York. So did that mean 1-0 again? Well, not the way Paul Wilson has been going for the New York Mets. Wilson has changed every look. As we roll it from Shea Stadium in New York, afternoon game. This is how he looked early in the year, the youngster with a full beard. He struggled, went to the goatee, and at 1-5, today he was clean shaven. I know the head was next, probably. Jay Buhner would agree with that. But against Sean Dunston, the K early, and Steve Scarsoni really struggled today against Wilson Cedar. 8 Ks for Paul through 8 innings of work. But Alan Watson again had the good stuff working. Bernard Gilkey had 2 homers the other night. He's struck out there on off speed. Then Todd "That Doggo" Hundley is frozen. Watson struck out 4. And really, most of the hits he allowed were of the broken bat variety. But in the 8th, leadoff man Ray Ordonez, a bad bounce. Matt Williams still normally handles it. It's a hit, but he doesn't. Ordonez eventually goes to third base, and with 2 out, Vizcaino, bottom of the 8th, base hit through the hole, and the Mets lead it 1-0. Wilson was pinch hit for that inning. John Franco in the 9th. Javier bunted his way on. Barry Bonds could put the Giants in the lead. Back. But Lance Johnson catches it. A big win, kept it in the park. Javier moved up to second. Matt Williams went down fishing for 2 outs. And after a big battle in which Mark Carrion fouled off a handful of pitches, a shot to third, Jeff Kent gets it across the diamond. And Franco saves it for the rookie Paul Wilson, who gave up just 3 hits in his 8 innings of work. Watson went the route 8 innings, gave up 6 hits, but takes the loss. Even his mark at 5-5, Franco would save number 10. So 1-0 games this year. There are now been 10 of them in the major leagues. Games in which there are 23 or more runs scored, there have been 16. That could be 13-10. That could be 16-7. Whatever it is, the 1-0 games are a rarity. And I'll tell you what, Harold, after going to that game today this afternoon, it's time to lower the mound because obviously the pitchers have too much advantage over the hitters. It was so nice. The game took 2 hours and 9 minutes. The teams were into it. The pitchers were sharp. The relief pitching had the drama in the 9th. it was baseball. It was good to see back and good to see Paul Wilson show the form.
Well, I'll tell you what, Paul Wilson, last week, he was a big topic out here on the East Coast talking about should they send him down. And I was saying, man, the guy, they're 11.5 back. The young man's got good stuff. Today, he came out. They made a little bit of adjustment in his stride. And he came back. He battled through 8 strong innings. I mean, he showed the stuff that everybody knew he had. He's starting to get the command. And I'm looking for big things from him. I think he's going to be all right. But don't put too much pressure on him yet. Let him be a youngster. Let him grow up.
He was a hero in spring training. They were booing him, and now the monkey off a little bit because Dallas Green, afterwards, the manager said, you know, there's a big start for him. Maybe 1 or 2 more bad ones, and he might have gone down. John Franco has, you know, he has more than 300 saves. He got the 300 save this year, but lately people have been, you know, the Met fans have been on him too because he's always putting a guy on first. Javier bunted on the first pitch in the 9th inning to get on board. But some of the best relievers, Goose Gossage comes to mind, and others, Quisenberry, they always were working with a guy on.
That's their mental makeup. I mean, he likes the pressure. And I'm not saying load him up every time, John, but I am saying some people pitch better under pressure, and he is one of those guys that's proven that. Quisenberry, Gossage, I mean, people in New York, you ought to be used to that. The Goose was there a long time with pressure. Guys like the pressure.
Well, in the old days, they used to come in like with runners on in the 8th, so they were used to pitching with men on. Franco, not maybe in the beginning of Franco's career that way.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, in the beginning of his career, that's how guys did it. Now they bring him in top of the 9th, and they load him up and do different things.
Hey, but Franco's gotten a job done. He got saved number 10, and he saved it for the youngsters. Mets take 2 out of 3 from the Giants during this midweek set. When we return, West Coast action tonight. The Mariners at home against the Red Sox. We'll check in on that, and we'll update the Indians and more. Stay with us on Baseball Tonight.
You don't know what you're up against out there, rookie.
Heavy lumber.
There's a gap. And another. See ya.
They're gonna pull up at the arc.
Count it.
3 seconds on the clock. Jump.
Stay out of the paint, rookie. Stay out of the paint.
Oh, the humanity.
You are the
PlayStation, now $199.
They say, surround yourself with Earth's forms and you'll find tranquility. In the presence of power, you'll achieve peace of mind. Remove yourself from chaos and you'll experience rejuvenation. Hence, our newest edition, Wide Open Spaces. Introducing the longer, roomier Jaguar Vanden Pla.
Later on SportsCenter, can Mario take the final step in his comeback? The Sonics must stop the music before they run with the Bulls. And will Rick be around to defend his title? For Linda Cohn, I'm Dan Patrick. We'll see you at 11 Eastern.
Here we go to the 8th inning. Paul Orville Ossenmacher touched up last night, but with the bases loaded, gets Dave Nilsson Schmilson to strike out swinging. And the Indians and Ossenmacher get out of the inning. We go to the top of the 9th now with the Tribe leading that game 2-0 as Fetters is trying to hold the Indians at bay and the Brewers get one last crack at it. Now we go out west. We're Boston and Seattle. Solomon Torres pitching. And in the top of the 3rd, Milt Kyler to left field. Sends it back. And in the Kingdome, Milt Kyler.
You got to be kidding me.
He's hit a home run.
Oh, opposite field.
Opposite field. Hey, how many fathoms was that out there? They took that off finally, didn't they? His first homer of the year. And the Red Sox lead it 1-0. They've gone top 4. Tom Gordon against King Solomon Torres. The Mariners, of course, they hit homers by the bushel. And going into tonight, now the Mariners have played 50 games. They have 89 home runs. The 1961 Yankees, who set a major league record with 240 home runs, when Maris had 61, Mantle had 54, and 4 others had over 20, through 50 games had only 65 homers. We're a long way off, but the Mariners certainly have a leg up, perhaps, in getting into the record book. Always with a leg up, SportsCenter. Dan and Linda will tell you if there's a Game 7 between Utah and Seattle. They'll tell you if there's a Game 7 between the Panthers and the Penguins. We'll be back in a moment.
No matter what kind of call your business makes, AT&T stands behind it. This is the most powerful communications network in the world. And if your call ever runs into trouble, the network sends you around it. Or if a cable gets cut, it won't affect you. No other network handles so much business, and no other network guarantees all of it. Only AT&T stands behind every kind of call your business makes. Where does your phone company stand? AT&T, for the life of your business.
If you want your house to look this good, use Sherwin-Williams Best Exterior House Paint. With a 20-year warranty against peeling, blistering, and fading. It's no wonder we call it Super Paint. Save on all exterior Super Paint with Super Paint Flat, now 20% off. Sherwin-Williams. Where to get it?
SportsCenter has been so huge over the years. All kinds of spin-offs have been created. There's been SportsCenter, the Saturday morning cartoon.
Hi, I'm Keith Olbermann.
Hi, I'm Dan Patrick. Welcome to The Big Show.
SportsCenter, the concept album, and who could forget SportsCenter, the movie.
Dan,
but I'm not like the other sportscasters. You make me feel in fuego.
Billy!
When a toothpaste helps get teeth their dazzling whitest, people want to know more.
But what's so different about Aquafresh Whitening?
A patented tri-clean formula that whitens without peroxide, bleach, or harsh abrasives.
What does it really do?
Aquafresh Whitening safely and gently breaks up stains to help get your teeth their whitest.
You got proof it works?
Aquafresh Whitening is clinically proven to whiten better than Crest. Even Rembrandt can't beat it.
So every day I brush helps my teeth get whiter.
Aquafresh Whitening, safe to use every day for dazzling whiter teeth.
In orbit, it's a short list tonight. Of course, there's only 5 games tonight, but don't worry, the night is still young. Just 5 names. Our Sunday night game of the week, the Braves and the Reds. Should be Tommy Glavine going at Cincinnati. That's at 8 Eastern on Sunday. Our College World Series coverage begins on Friday with Oklahoma and Alabama. That's Friday at 4 Eastern, 1 on the West Coast. We'll see you in an hour. Jay Buhner running for vice president. For Harold, I'm Chris, SportsCenter. Next.